Many of us grew up in the community and didn't have that growing up and wanted to do better. So that's where it started. Very simple idea of just doing better.
Trying to do better just got a little bit harder for one Nampa nonprofit. Clutch is a 2-year-old organization that holds weekly meetings for young people in the Nampa LGBTQ+ community. They've been in the news a few times, like the story KTVB did right after they started. But for the most part, they've just kind of gone about their business, kind of flown under the radar, which is fitting since their name and logo derives from another way to describe a safe space for a small group, a clutch. But recently that group and the spaces they occupy have been feeling a little unsafe. When it became known, there were flyers promoting their weekly meetings posted in the Nampa Public Library. Claims of perversion and grooming and activities not included in what Clutch embodies. As for what Clutch does, well, we decided to ask them.
We're simple, we're affirming, we're based in love.
Clutch first found footing in Nampa in 2022.
And that's what community really is about.
Holding their weekly meetings at a local church.
Right.
Mindy Oldenkamp was there at the beginning.
Clutch was born out of a need to just provide something better for the youth in our community. We continuously see them face policies and decisions that tell them, especially the queer LGBTQ youth, that they're not able to discuss themselves or express themselves.
Word spread slowly at first, just letting people know they existed.
And that worked-ish, and that helped us kind of just let us get our feet under us. And then we're like, okay, let's do this. Let's just be bold and be here. We have every right to be here. So.
About a year and a half ago, they started putting up flyers that included their address.
They're up in community bulletin boards, not places that we're affiliated with, just places that offer community space so we can advertise those kind of things.
Like the community bulletin board on the 3rd floor of the Nampa Library, conveniently sharing a corner with the Freedom Shrine. How recently did you put it up at the library?
We've had a flyer there for the last year and a half.
But it was only over the last week that flyer has gotten some unwanted attention.
The Nampa Library is essentially inviting kids as young as 14 to hang out with 20-year-olds and talk about gay sex.
You know, it makes me sad, and largely I just think, what a weird thing to say. You know, what an unfortunate place to have an opinion and to just make assumptions. When you don't come at things with curiosity, you miss the heart of a matter, and that's sort of my overarching feeling about this whole thing.
Mindy says this kind of attention was just a matter of time. Why?
I've lived here all my life. And, you know, I know that there's a lot of very split perceptions on people and who has the right to be in community and who is encouraged to not have those rights. And so we just figured we would draw some perhaps negative attention at some point, but that's sort of the purpose of why we do what we do, so that members of the LGBTQ community, especially youth, know that they have a place that they can be affirmed and safe.
However, this pushback came from outside the Nampa community. Last week, an Idaho affiliate of Mass Resistance, a conservative anti-LGBTQ organization, posted this to social media, claiming the Nampa Library was, quote, handing out groomer flyers to children. It wasn't, but that didn't stop the calls for phone calls and emails.
This is not okay. Everybody needs to call them and tell them to stop doing this if you have ethics and morals.
The library received more than 50 messages.
It seems like a strange and weird place to attack. The library is just a community space, and they've done nothing to draw this kind of heat.
It says, shame on you. Perverts meeting with confused kids to talk about their sexual preferences. Outrageous and disgusting. I assume you'll take responsibility for the criminal aftermath.
It just makes me so sad when people make wild assumptions. No one here has inquired about what Clutch does. To just come in swinging and making unfortunate and just incredibly inaccurate accusations is just sad to me. And a waste of time, truthfully, a hurtful waste of time.
One of those emails was sent by the field director of Mass Resistance, Arthur Shopper. Do you know what they do?
Okay, I don't care at this point what they do. The fact is that they want to promote homosexuality, transgenderism to youth is just abominable. This is an outrage. We're talking about adults mingling with minors, and the whole reason they're there is about a so-called sexual identity. This is a sexually explicit topic in and of itself. It's not acceptable.
When you have
this is grooming at its finest.
A conversation was about 10 minutes of that. The gist of it is, you guys are putting up flyers to entice kids to come to a meeting where young children and adults can talk about sex.
That's so far from the truth of what Clutch is. Clutch is simple. We offer a meal and we offer a place to have community. We offer an optional activity like karaoke or painting or bingo, and that's the heart of what we do. It's just a place that kids can hang out.
It was brought up to us that maybe if the flyer just said teenagers and didn't say 14 to 20-year-olds, why include the 18, 19, and 20?
You know, when you're young and you're entering college, you're still very much a youth, and there's some overlap there. And we wanted to make sure, as many other agencies and entities that are nonprofits, it's a very common age range to serve, so that as kids bridge that gap from high school and then trying to figure out what's next for them, they still had a place to go.
The flyers are no longer, well, not no longer, but they aren't currently are not up at the library. You gonna put them back up?
We have every right to post our flyers wherever there's a community bulletin board. You know, it's unfortunate they've been put in the middle of something that they're not even involved in. So, you know, community is for everyone, and the community bulletin board is for everyone.
Nampa Library told us today while staff will periodically go through the community bulletin boards to make sure nothing violates their posting policy, they did not remove those Clutch flyers, and they aren't sure who did. Many of the emails and phone calls to the library, which we were told were much worse, more threatening than the emails, called the flyers offensive, quote, inappropriate, and, quote, indoctrination, and claimed they violated the recently passed library law, the one that says anything of sexual conduct or considered harmful to minors cannot be available to kids in libraries. Nampa Library tells us the Clutch flyer is neither of those things. Mindy told us Clutch consists of about 25 volunteers who are all vetted, they pass background checks, and nobody is left unattended at their weekly meetings. Once again, an Idaho community is the focus of a nationwide movement to push out any spaces for those they consider not normal or immoral. But those, also I should say, this is also an example of Idaho's laws having consequences, since that library law deems the act of homosexuality as obscene. The bright side, though, Mindy told us, Clutch has received more positive phone calls than negative, and her experience has always been every time something like this pops up, her community shows up to support them. Unfortunately, that same grace has not been given to the Nampa Library.